and therefore livelihoods. And after they have propagated the seedlings and they are ready for transplanting, it is in fact the surest way of mitigating the effects of climate change is increasing forest and vegetation cover, so that we have trees when they are fully grown helping in moderating the temperatures, and vegetation in this sense for the pastoralists that they are. We have a lot of grass, vetiver, napier grass that will be, and some tree species that will be grown or planted for purposes of feeding on the livestock. And so there are various initiatives that youth could engage in, and this we have done to ensure that they really take the front row. And as youth, we go to schools and institutions so that we can really challenge and inspire our fellow youth to taking action and responsibility, so that we can support our parents who really are, as families are being affected by the climate change. So there are many initiatives and activities that our youth are engaging in, but most importantly, so we're starting by introducing and then letting them know what is climate change, what are its effects, and how can we remedy them, and so that they can take up the challenge. So we are emphasizing the need of awareness creation and environmental education, so that they can be stewards, they can take responsibility of their own environment. Because if they don't do, then the repercussions are right here with us. Yes.
Of course, and as you put it, the repercussions are here with us, and I think then the youths will be more affected as well as children, because they have a long lifespan. Yeah, so when it comes to issues of climate effects, definitely they'll be the ones that will be affected more. And now to you, Amina, do you think the youths are up to the task? Because when we are talking of waste management, you have to go to the dirty rivers and clean the rivers. When you are talking of planting trees, your hands have to be dirty for you to plant a tree. Will you say the youths are up to the task, or they still have that attitude of I'm not the one to conserve the environment?
Thank you. I believe the youth are up to the task. I've interacted with them. Yeah. I'm a youth myself, and I think what they need is education. You know, you have to know importance of something for you to take part in it. Sure. If they know, if they need to clean the rivers for us to have clean water, they need to plant trees for us to have change of climate. The education is important, and awareness. If we tell them the importance of it, they'll want to be part of it. I'm sure the youths are willing, they are there, they are able, very able. So what they need is just the resources. Tell them to do this. This is the reason, and give them the resource, and you'll see them doing it.
And what resources are we looking at?
Okay, you know, let's say the conservation of water, that we will need. It's not easy to construct a dam, to construct a dam and to conserve that kind of water. We'll need the government to come in and support financially. We need money. We need money to do all this. The reuse, recycling of waste, all that needs money. And youths are jobless, they need it. This is, now if you tell the youths that they need to involve themselves, yes, they are ready there, but what are you bringing as the government, as the county government? How are you supporting them? Because we need support. Most of us are in universities, some of us are just out of university, and we want to do it, but we are not there financially. So we need financial support, and we can do the rest.
All right, just talking of finances, the president has been a very key spearheader, or just a champion of matters to do with climate finance. And you've talked of resources as well. You've talked of education. You've talked of awareness. And Matthew, I'd like you to tell us, with your movement or with your initiative, what are some of the awareness activities that you've done just to ensure that the youths are more educated on matters to do with environmental conservation and just taking care of the environment?
Thank you. Like I mentioned, we have challenged ourselves to be on the front row to doing environmental education and awareness creation and capacity building. It is the most important of resources. You see, they say, if you don't know the importance of something, the abuse is inevitable. And these are waterways, our rivers, our wetlands and all. And therefore, we have positioned ourselves to help many youth. For instance, in schools and institutions, and with the help of the local leaders, we have challenged them to have rain water harvesting systems from our roof, the roofs of our houses. So with containers or water reservoir tanks will be an immediate resource if made available for water harvesting. That water will be used for many uses in school besides just tree planting. And about waste management, it's a very another critical component that we have challenged many youths to venture in. It is said that waste is not waste when it is sorted at source. Waste is a valuable resource. All we have sought to teach the kids and the students and our fellow youth is waste segregation from our households. And so sorting them in the sections of organic, kitchen waste, recyclable or reusable waste, which is plastics, and those that are obsolete, that cannot be recycled, can be glass, electronic waste, and all those that will be toxic to the environment. So that with that sorting, we'll have kitchen waste or food or organic waste or industrial, how do you call it, farm waste, being used as fertilizer, as animal feed, and waste such like, for instance, plastic waste being recycled to many other uses. And these are low-hanging fruits with proper information, resource and capacity building. There would end up being a source of lives and livelihoods, and therefore sustaining the many lives that are out there, really looking forward to making a living, as it were. So there are many initiatives, like in our tree growing venture, which we are fairly big in. We have an establishment of a tree nursery in Kitengela, the KGC University, for which we are very grateful, courtesy of the Kenya Forest Service, who saw our passion, our need to be agents of change, and they facilitated us in that. And so we are also working with our various youth groups and organizations through the Department of Ministry of Forest and Climate Change to really have them provide us with potting bags, with seeds, so that we can establish tree nurseries. And it is as little, and a bit of training and capacity building, which we are, we don't say, have the capacity to doing, so that we can have these lives and livelihoods sustained in three fronts: in afforestation, in water harvesting, and in solid waste management. And in that way, we'll be able to have our waterways and our water systems, the lakes, really clean, because when we have all manner of waste going to the river, they are flown down to the oceans and therefore affecting the aquatic life. And that will make us not be able to explore the blue economy component that we have spoken widely about. Yes.
All right. Talking of afforestation and probably just training the youths, do you also seek experts so that the youths, as you tell them to plant trees, you're also teaching them on what trees to plant, where to plant, and how, of course, they now get to conserving the environment. Earlier on, you talked about the youth, first of all, understanding what climate change is.
Yes, we have sought guidance and help from the relevant agencies and organizations, and this include NEMA, the Kenya Forest Service, and KEFRI, who provide technical, logistical, and otherwise support so that you can be professional in all that you are doing. And therefore, they have come on board and provided technical expertise of training and capacity building, so that we don't just do it for doing sake, but we professionalize our art of doing that. And knowing that we have different ecosystems, we have, so that we're able to maximize on the success of our initiatives, we have sought to do site and species matching, so that in the northeastern, for instance, we go there, we will not go with seeds, we will not provide seeds that will not be suitable for that area. So we'll go for seeds that are suitable for arid and semi-arid area, seeds that are resilient, that are able to adapt and flourish and grow in that very harsh of weather conditions. So that we have done with a good measure of success. Yes.
All right, and Amina, I will say you're one of, let me say, a beneficiary of the trainings, the awareness creation. What would, you've mentioned as well of the challenges, yeah, and climate change or the issues of drought is not something that came recently, especially in the areas that you come from. What are some of the things that you do right there, that's in Marsabit County, and also just bringing in the youth so that they support your initiative and together you're able to conserve the environment?
Thank you. Creating awareness, we start with that. Everything is around educating people. They need to understand the importance of it in order to do it. So I'm trying to educate them, tell them the importance of planting the trees, importance of picking up that waste. You think, yes, it's waste, but there's money in it. You are saving the environment at the same time, but you're also investing somewhere else. I've told them the importance of environment, the importance of those wastes, the importance of manure. Actually, we are pastoralists, and there's a lot of waste. Where do those waste go to? And we can actually divide. Instead of just focusing on livestock, we can also do agriculture, and that can happen without even having to look for fertilizers outside. We have manure, waste from our own animals, so we can use it naturally, and it will go hand in hand.
And would you say they are receptive? Because everyone will always be like, Serikali, come and do this, the government should come and do this. Will you say they are receptive, and is it working? Is it something that is working, or do you think it's something that would work for the future in terms of just managing the drought?
I believe it's working, and it's going to work. Actually, we even have, we're supposed to be going there this weekend. We are going to meet with them. That means for them to want us to come there, that means there is acceptance. They have seen the importance of it. They have seen the positive part of it, the education. That means we have reached, the news has reached them, and they want to be part of it. The only problem is now, like, we will need the resources. We have, everything is in place. We have the plan. We have the youths who are there to do the work. The only thing is we need the government to come in, the county government, the national government, to come support the youth, work with us. You can't really, yes, you have a plan, but this plan can't work without the necessity, which is finance. The plan is already in motion. We have an event with them this weekend. We are traveling to Moyale. That's where we are starting. The youths are already there. They are waiting for us. That means the acceptance is already there, and the future is bright.
All right, great. And we are talking of youths, and I just want us to bring this conversation now to the young ones, because the youths definitely are young as well. But we are looking at the children. For Team Environment Kenya, do you also bring in children? Because probably with the adults, it's a bit hard for them to embrace the tree planting, for them to embrace just doing away with all the hazards of the environment. Are you also talking to children? And if you are talking to children as well, what are some of the activities that you're involving them in?
Thank you so much for that great question. Ideally, they say that government or a nation that does not invest in its youth has no guarantee of its future. And so we have decided to go lower. Our engagement is fairly community. We are at the grassroots, and we have been very strategic and tactful to ensure that in our school outreach, we go to as low as grade 1, the first grade, or even lower, so that with these kids, we have incorporated them under our initiative called Children with Nature. We have organized activities such as cleanups in our estates, in our residential areas, at various communities, and we have children brought by their parents really being part and parcel of this initiative. And as they come in their innocence, we tell them, you know what? It is important to take care of the environment. And it's as little as the wrapping of biscuit or sweet that your dad or mom has bought for you, not very good for your teeth though, so you occasionally use it. But as it does, you be careful not to litter. Pack that litter, the wrapping, and until you get to a place where you can rightfully keep it in the rightful depositing of the same. So we have children, and a number of them, not just in Nairobi where we are best, but we are seeking to have them in every of our county where we have presence, to really have them helped, to really knowing that it is important to take care of the environment, that while they grow, we have responsible citizens and stewards of environmental stewardship with an understanding.
All right, thank you so much for that. So we'll be taking a very short break. Remember, we are looking at the role of youths in terms of conserving the environment, and also just helping the entire country and world in terms of just taking climate action. So on set, I am still with Amina Bule, who is the Marsabit County Coordinator, that is for Team Environment Kenya, and I also have Mr. Matthew Wright here, who is the Director of Team Environment Kenya. So we take a very short break. We will come back with much more in terms of environmental conservation.
Are you looking to grow your business? KAK TV offers you a variety of advertising opportunities to suit your budget. Advertise with us today and reach your potential customers countrywide. For more information, email us on sales@kaktv.org or call 011 00 90 647.
Right, welcome back to Eco's Diary. In case you're just joining us, we are looking at the role of youths in environmental conservation. Remember, the government has an agenda of planting 15 billion trees, that is by the year 2032. And as the president says, the youths have a very great role to play in terms of tree planting as well as tree growing. Welcome back, and on set I'm still with Amina Bule as well as Matthew Chada. They are from Team Environment Kenya, and together we are just looking at the role of youth in terms of environmental conservation. So Matthew, to you, we've looked at environmental conservation in terms of tree planting and growing, waste management as well. But let us now look at how climate change now affects wildlife and the role that the youths can play in that effect.
Thank you so very much. Like we said, climate change and if its effects, devastating as they may be, they are very indiscriminate in their ravaging. Like we say, they have affected lives, livelihoods of domestic and not sparing wild animals. Kenya, for the longest time, we have prided ourselves as having being the best destination for tourists to come and view our jumbos, our king of the forest, the lion, our big five basically. And so we, for the first time, have had a very bad effect of climate change on wildlife. We had our zebras, our giraffes really dying, and many other wildlife, not necessarily because of their predators, but because of them not having enough vegetation to graze on. And therefore, the youth, like we have said, in our holistic approach to environmental conservation, we are also spearheading wildlife conservation, and that definitely is through, we cannot overemphasize the fact that we need education and information about the fact that they also need water. So we have had very many initiatives of various agencies and organizations mobilizing resources and in buses, onboarding youth to taking fodder, hay, grass, and all that to the national parks. This is National Park Nairobi and Tsavo and many others across the country. And water. In all, if not most national parks, we have water pans, like dams of sorts. So we have had those initiatives with friends and partners and stakeholders. We have mobilized resources and driven with the help of the Kenya Wildlife team to the national parks to ensuring that we are safe, and has delivered water to the wildlife, and therefore saving them as many as we could, because like my colleague mentioned, during that season water was a very, very scarce commodity. We had Lake Turkana really literally drying up. Our streams, our rivers, and the water was really not having enough to sustain lives. But with the help of relevant agencies and support of the government, we have had food being taken to the national parks for feeding our wildlife, and therefore being able to preserve a few, so that when our guests come, we have something, they have something to treat themselves on. Yeah, so we, and also in schools, I should say, every school that we go to, besides establishing green clubs, or like they used to be called 4K clubs, we also have wildlife clubs, so that we teach the kids as small as they are through primary, and the wildlife club are in primary and in high school. So we have youth who really have put themselves in groups to champion for the rights and protection and the preservation of wildlife as a critical component of the ecosystem that we pride ourselves in, and working to preserving and conserving. Even the many trees that we plant, besides in schools and institutions, just to plant them in parks. And some of those trees, after they are fully matured and grown, really their leaves and branches are consumed, are used as fodder or feed by the browsers and the wild animals. So we really are in a very critical position, and we're able to do much more with the support of the relevant agencies. Thank you so much.
Right, thank you for that. And Amina, you were just sharing with us earlier on of how the Marsabit Park was affected, that is on issues to do with drought. How would you say the wildlife there was affected, as well as the community around, and even in terms of tourism, as Matthew puts it?
Okay, we have a big forest, Marsabit Forest, and we also have national park. We have wildlife. It's a tourist attraction center, but because of changing climate, the harsh temperature that is there, we don't get as much tourists as in other places. And as youths, it's our duty. We take the forefront to bring that change. We want the tourists to reach there to see the beauty of Marsabit. Marsabit country is very beautiful. If we take that initiative, we take care of it. I believe we can show the world, actually, not just Kenya, the world, the beauty of the wildlife that is there, the beauty of Marsabit Forest, the beauty of our wildlife. Basically, the youth, they are ready to do it. They are ready to take part in all this. They are ready to bring Marsabit to the world, show Marsabit to not just Kenya, but to the world. And for that to happen, we'll need support also. Like I've had conversations with them. They have several CBOs that they have started. They've been trying, and I've seen their work, and we are partnering. I thank our director here. I'm so glad I came to know about Team Environment Kenya. I sat with them and told them I want to represent my county. I don't want to be anywhere else. That's where we are going. I want people to realize that we have something that we can show. I want us to partner in this. I want you to take us through. So I'm so thankful that he saw the potential of Marsabit. He saw the urge, the need, of the youths in Marsabit County. That's why we are going to Moyale now to talk to the youths. We have already educated them. They know what needs to be done. I believe we can make it happen.
All right, and just talking of that, just tell us probably very briefly what will be the main agenda of this particular initiative that you'll be taking to Moyale, or what are some of the things that you'll be discussing just in terms of luring the youths in terms of conserving the environment?
Okay, we have planned first and foremost education. Yes, I've told them several times, I've already explained to them, but I need to tell them in details. Not just by saying, but showing them examples of what needs to be done and why we are doing this. Now, being there with them and actually doing it and showing them by example, we are leaders. Leaders do it by example, showing example. So being there with them on that day, we'll be taking them through education about not just about the tree planting, this waste management also, the thought of wanting not just concentrating on livestock, but also agriculture. You know, about the fertilizers and everything else. That's basically what we're going to do. And also nursery. We're going to start a nursery, you know, the resisting, not just any kind of plant, you know, like we're in semi-arid and arid areas. So the trees that can stand that harsh weather, we're going to be doing it there and we have to guide them. You know, you just can't tell them, plant trees. What kind of trees are they going to plant? What kind of trees are going to survive there? So basically, it's all about the education and the nursery and everything.
All right. Thank you for anything that you'll want to add, Matthew, on that particular event in Moyale.
That particular event has been, it's happening. I wanted to say it was long overdue, but I think this is the right time to really get them, get there and encourage and engaging with the community there, and to telling them we can literally transform our county and our sub-county and the communities to be the paradise that we admire of other places. And it will be in little activities like she has mentioned proper solid waste management and environmental responsibility generally. But what I also need to add is that we have to be doing capacity building. And for those that have been in their own little and small ways have been doing what they could, we want to identify, acknowledge their efforts and award, if not reward them as climate change or environmental champions. So it will be a way of also encouraging many others to really come to the fore and being part of the greater movement. And finally is to work around having them really establish their nursery, that it will help them in beautifying the environment. So we are working with the relevant agencies to have a sufficient supply of seeds, like just to mention the seeds that are suitable for that ecozone, that region. We have the acacia, which are in different, almost 5 different species. Acacia are the thorny trees. They are very highly resistant to harsh weather conditions. They will grow and mature. We have ashok. Ashok is an evergreen tree. It trips root dips, going very deep. As long as it has grown to a different level, it will really flourish. We have palm tree. We have Macamia lutea. We have neem tree, Mwarubaine, which is an evergreen tree. Just to mention but a few. So we reaching there to ensuring that we leave that place better than we found. The sustainability of it will be with our Team Environment Kenya members under her leadership in not just in Moyale, where we will be establishing and launching that, but we'll have it replicated in 5 other sub-counties across the great and beautiful county of Marsabit. And also, like she mentioned about their wildlife and the need to show Marsabit to the world. The road network has been done by the government, the national government, and so you, by air or by road, you can beautifully travel to that destination and treat yourself to the beauty of our wildlife on the farthest end of Kenya.
Yes. All right, thank you for that. And now as we wind up, Amina, is there any other thing that you'll want to do? Probably just a call to action to the youths in terms of just conserving the environment.
You can do it. You don't, as much as we need support, but you personally, what can you bring?
Yeah.
What can you do? You can make it happen. in your high schools, in universities. You don't just, okay, as much as you need support, but you can do it yourself. Take the initiative, reach out to the necessary people. Because if I had just stood back and just watched from aside and I want yes to transform Marsabit County, but I'm just going to sit and wait for someone else to do it. Who's going to do it if not ourselves? Yeah. So I'm calling out to the youth to take part in this, to do what you can in your capacity and try to reach out as well. And I believe we can do it.
All right, thank you for that. And now, Matthew, just before you give your parting shot, there is the issue of celebrating every event in your life. That is something I saw with Team Kenya. As you celebrate probably your birthday, you plant a tree. Anniversary, you plant a tree. You can just talk to us about that, even as you give us your last words.
Yeah, thank you so very much. It's been a great honor and privilege to really have been accorded this opportunity. And so the government pronounced itself to a 15 billion tree planting target. It looks so huge, so ambitious, and almost unrealizable. But with tact and strategy, which we are gifted in, it is achievable. We have, as Team Environment Kenya, I said we do environmental conservation through various initiatives and activities. And these are initiatives such as Trees for Birthday, Children with Nature, Keep Kenya Breathing, Plant Your Age. And so knowing very well that every day is somebody's birthday, every day, literally. Today, as we're speaking here, somebody is celebrating their birthday and another one is being born today. And so it's a challenge that we have given to team members. With the privilege of having our own tree nursery, the struggle of looking for seedlings was brought to an end by that establishment. We have them in their hundreds of thousands. If you want 10,000 seedlings today, I will deliver them at a favorable cost, definitely. And so we have that initiative, every team member. And so given the resources and logistical challenges, we usually do it twice a month. We have the first week of the month and the last week of the month to have every team member who is born within that month. Good for them that are born on the day that we have proposed to do an activity. On that day, we make available a minimum of 1,000 seedlings at our facility where, or a resource, Ngong Hills, at a forest, at a place where the growing of those trees is guaranteed. So usually organize tree planting ventures, initiatives, and as you come, the many or the few that have come to participate in this, we give them a chance to plant their age so that we can have this target realized. And so, and even when you're celebrating your anniversary, maybe wedding, or you are graduating, we have done a whole lot of that. And maybe knowing that life is not permanent, we have had team members really passing on, transitioning to the other world. We have done, with the help of the families, to have a tree, 2 or 10 being planted in the home of the deceased as we commemorate their departure, as we bid them bye on their final send-off. And so with such strategic approach, with proper mechanism of monitoring, follow-up, and evaluation, really growing the trees, the 15 billion target by government, we will sit here, God willing, 10 years or 5 years later, to say, you know what, into that account, 100,000 was courtesy of Team Environment Kenya. No. 500,000 of it's doable. And so we really are calling on support the county government investing in this youth movement. It will be a worthwhile venture to really doing, and so that you can be able to have this project and program sustained. It is said that the world, that the environment that we are in, we did not inherit it from our forefathers, but we borrowed it from our children. And therefore, it is incumbent upon us to do everything that is possible, humanly possible, to leave it better than we found it because of them. So it's not an inheritance we received, it's a borrow. In advance, we borrowed from our children's children. So, I mean, it's just common knowledge and humane, if not human, to leave it better than we found it because we have borrowed it from them. Yeah, so with that, we are equal to the task. Not just doing this, but even much more. Yes.
All right. So in short, we need to take care of the environment so that our children or our children do not suffer later on in terms of the climate change.
Yes, we have an upcoming conference, before I forget.
All right.
Yes, so that in our quest and spirit of walking the talk and going north and northeastern for that matter, we are having the first ever. I said we are the trendsetters, we are trailblazers, we are pathfinders. We shall be hosting the first ever climate action, green growth and sustainable environmental Bamboo Expo conference. It's a mouthful, but ideally just a gathering in the northeastern Kenya to be hosted by the great Garissa University. University of Garissa will be hosting us for a whole week of climate action conference, during which we seek to plant, to have grown 10,000 seedlings in Garissa County and its environs, and we shall be establishing a 1 million tree nursery and seedling propagation center, and be launching an orchard, a green space, courtesy of Garissa University. This conference is scheduled for the 22nd to the 27th of May under the theme Locally Led Climate Action. In Team Environment Kenya, like my colleague mentioned, we have mastered a simple art and it's working for us. Making do with what we have, where we are, as we hope for the best.
All right, so Amina, you can just share with us where we can find you guys on social media, so that if there's any youth that wants to be part of the movement, they can join you in conserving the environment.
Okay, thank you. If you want to join us, we are on all social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Team Environment Kenya, at Team Environment Kenya.
All right, thank you, Amina, and thank you, Matthew, for your time and for just informing our audience, more so the youths, just to be stewards of conserving the environment. All right, thank you to you at home for tuning into Eco's Diary. We've talked quite a number of issues in terms of just how to conserve the environment as youth, and of course as the young people just trying to bring in children as well. We've looked at the issue of tree planting, we've talked about waste management, and also just taking care of the different water reservoirs as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you're just joining us, you can always find a recording of the show on all our social media pages. That's on YouTube as well as Facebook at KAK TV Kenya. My name is Aida Muzati. Thank you so much for tuning in to Eco's Diary. See you again next time.
Tondu tukirumirira mwathani uyu tondu turoiga niwe kionereria gitu kiugo kiroima kanua gaku ona riria wi murakaru. Bwana asifiwe sana. Yona riria wi murakaru kiagirirwo ni kiugo gia kwencourage na kiagirirwo ni kiugo gia gwikira andu hinya. Ona riria ciana ciaku itaraikara uria ungienda tiga kumaruma, tondu ona wa maruma maguruka no turiugaga ni aku. Koguo nduri guteithika uguko uteithikite, maririe na njira ya kumatara. Na nĩ njĩraga andũ wega mũno, ona ko matireka wega mũno kĩgeranio-inĩ tiga kũmeta ng'ombe, tondũ ng'ombe ciaraga ng'ombe.